to give you a quick walkthrough on how to complete a stakeholder tracker. So first things first, when you open up the tracker, if you go to the first tab, you'll see that it has a list of stakeholder categories. This will help you as a starter basis for completing your stakeholder tracker when categorising your stakeholders. So here I've listed decision makers, influencers, implementers, end users, supporter stroke enablers, resistors stroke opponents. I've also put a description for each category to help you choose wisely. Now you may have your own categories and that is absolutely fine. This is really just a starter for 10 for those that may be using a stakeholder tracker for the first time or perhaps want to look at different categories. I'm going to now take you into the stakeholder tracker itself. It's where you put all your information in regards to your stakeholder, their role or group, their power, their interest and engagement method, and how frequent you might want to engage with those individuals or groups, and the notes section where you can add any additional notes that you wish. Before we begin, I'd just like to point out that it's really essential that when you complete your key stakeholder tracker, you bear in mind that sometimes you will need to update the tracker throughout your program and project. And this is because positions change, people might leave the company or move departments, or their power or their interest might change throughout the change that you're trying to implement. And therefore it's important that you update this tracker and use it as a live document. So let's have a look at this tracker and how you complete it. On your left hand side, as I mentioned, you would list all the stakeholders. I have put here 2 examples. Under stakeholder, I have finance director or a team lead, or team leads rather. If you move over to the second section, I have role or group. So refer to the first tab, as I mentioned, to get more information about the categories. So I've put the finance director is a decision maker and the team leads is an influencer. Then you want to look at how much power does that finance director or those team leads have. Using the drop down here, you can choose what level of power you believe they have. So for example, I might believe that my finance director for the change that I'm trying to implement in particular has high power in regards to the role that they do. Then you might have some team leads that might not necessarily have high power, might have medium. So again, use a drop down and you can select from here which level of power you believe they have. Moving on, you have interest. So this column is all about how much interest do you think this finance director in this instance or team lead will have in the change that's being implemented. So in this instance, I'm going to leave this as the finance director having high interest because maybe there's a lot of financial aspects involving my change. And then for the team leads, I might change that also to medium. Moving on to the next column, we have engagement method. So now that you've established, for example, the finance director is a decision maker, they have high power and high interest, you might want to engage with them by doing one-to-one meetings. Having one-to-ones with a finance director would be the right approach for their level of interest and power. And you might want to do this on a weekly basis. But again, you can change that to weekly, bi-weekly or monthly. And again, just to address here, you can write any additional notes. So if we just look at the next example on the next line, which is team leads. The team leads are influencers. They have medium power, medium interests. So I might say to myself, because it's a group of them, I might want to run a workshop to help them understand the change that I'm trying to implement, get their buy-in, and I might want to do this bi-weekly. And this might gradually move to monthly, depending on the change you're implementing and how it's all going. So this is how you complete a stakeholder tracker. As I've mentioned before, this is a live document and it's really important that you stay on top of this, as this will help inform your communications approach. When you do your communications approach, you'll be able to use this as a starting ground. This is the Stakeholder Power interest matrix. You can plot each stakeholder based on their level of power and interest in your change initiative. Use 4 quadrants to decide how often and in what way to engage each group. So I mentioned before, for example, that I believe the finance director has high interest and high power. So therefore, I would probably plot them under manage closely. The team leads, for example, I would plot them under keep informed because they were medium interest and medium power. A pro tip, once you've mapped your stakeholders, link each group to a clear communications action. For example, keep informed would equal perhaps a monthly newsletter. Manage closely would probably equal weekly check-ins. This is a really useful template for you to see a very high level view of where you believe your stakeholders sit. I hope you find these tools helpful, and remember you can download them at www.techbiztoolkit.com.